How's it going, my truant people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back with a brand new draft analysis for your Bowland Bovines, and this is for the Season 2 of the IBL D-League. This is our first involvement with the IBL, and I'm super excited to announce that your Bowland Bovines will be competing in the D-League this season. There are so many fantastic competitors in this league. I think there's 10 coaches in total. We're one of the 10. It's a Wi-Fi league for the first time ever on the channel, and this is an upload required league. So definitely make sure you check out all the other fantastic content creators competing this season. Everyone's links will be down in the description. I'm probably one of the worst, if not the worst, content creator in the league. So you definitely want to go and check out everybody else. And if you're new here, if you found me through this league, then hopefully you stick around. Hopefully you enjoy what you see. I like to reiterate whenever I can that this channel is all about learning when we play competitive Pokemon. I don't pretend to be the greatest player in the world. I'm okay, I'm getting better, but mostly this channel is about learning and trying to improve as a community. So with that in mind, I have to thank everyone who's kind of helping me along this journey and helping me improve as a player and helping me learn. So shout out to my front office team who helped me with this draft as always. Also shout out to anyone else that I discussed the draft plan with. Shout out to Just Kurt, who will probably be genning my team a lot this season. His channel will be linked down in the description of all of the videos for this league, as will Strompfools, because I imagine that he might help me gen sometimes if I'm in a bit of an emergency situation as well. And whoever records the videos for me, because unfortunately I don't have a capture card, this will all be post-com this season, but whoever records the battle each week for me, their channel will be linked down in the description as well. So I just have to say a massive thank you to the IBL community for making me feel so welcome and for assisting me with all the problems that I've had, just getting used to things with their Wi-Fi upload required league. Everyone has been super friendly and super nice, so definitely make sure you check out any links that you can find in the description of any of the battles. But without wasting any more of your time, I'll get into exactly what we drafted for the IBL D-League. Now, miraculously, once again, this is like the second or third time I've had this recently, and probably the fourth or fifth time in just a year of playing Draft League. Somehow, once again, I got first pick overall. I don't know how I keep getting it. I just seem to be incredibly lucky. And it's kind of weird because I'm probably one of the people that would least want to have first pick overall. I'm not someone who generally picks the highest tier mons. In fact, if you've followed my channel for a while, you know I've made some strange picks in round 1 that I kind of get memed for a lot. I'm not great at picking round 1 Pokemon, so having first overall is a little bit wasted on me, but because this is a league that I do want to take a bit more seriously and that I would love to make the main league next season, I'd love to be involved in the main IBL league, I did decide I'd have to pick something serious first pick overall. So with that in mind, I picked up arguably one of the top 3 mons in the format in Tapu Koko. Now, alongside Celesteela, Mew, maybe Landorus T, maybe Kieran Black, this is definitely one of the top 5 at the very least mons in the format. A lot of people now say it's top 2 along with Celesteela. I do think Tapu Koko is fantastic in the draft format. It's pretty versatile, great speed tier, defog, U-turn, great electric terrain boost. And terrain, people kind of think that terrain is, I guess, like a passive effect on your team. It's not something that many people build around unless they throw a Halucha on there or whatever. It's not like weather, for example, where if you draft weather, you have a full weather draft. But terrain still can be really useful in terms of we can stop things from resting on us. Something like, for example, a rest Suicune or a rest Hydration Goodra. Suddenly electric terrain can force prep by our opponents as well and can help us do different things too. So I don't think terrain is to be slept on as team support. And Tapu Koko this season is going to be nicknamed FJ Leghorn, that's Foghorn J Leghorn. Everything on this draft, well, a lot of things on this draft, not everything, but a lot of things on this draft are nicknamed with references to the things. I haven't named things after the front office crew as I usually do. Instead, we've got a lot of references in this draft. So if you can guess where any of the references come from, comment down below. Some of them you might be able to guess where they come from, but if you can guess why that Pokemon was named that, then one or two I'll be really impressed. So let me know down in the comment section why you think I've given these nicknames. But yeah, we're going to have Foghorn J Leghorn, our Tapu Koko this season. I can't wait to use Tapu Koko. I used it in my first ever draft league just over a year ago, and I haven't really used it since, so I'm excited to give it another go. And as I said, that was our first pick overall, so the draft then snaked away from us, and before it came all the way back, there was some powerful picks picked up, some things that I wanted picked up along the way. But when it came back to me, I had a plan to pick up Mega Mawile and Hydreigon on my wheel pick. And I didn't do that because there was another dragon. Much as I love Hydreigon, it is my most drafted Pokemon at this point. There was another dragon that when you've got Tapu Koko and this is still sitting around round 2, you can't not pick it up. So round 2, we picked up Big Bad Kieran Black. Now, as I said when I kind of announced Tapu Koko, Kieran Black is often considered one of the top 5 mons in the format. I have seen it fall out of favour a lot recently. I don't think it's one of the most fashionable mons in the draft. I've seen it going round 2 a lot, round 3 in 1 or 2 leagues. I don't know what it is with Kieran Black at the minute. It just seems like it's It's just out of fashion, it just seems to be that simple, but Kieran Black is a phenomenal wall breaker. It has a lot of bulk, it has reliable recovery and roost, it has nice coverage with things like Fusion Bolt, which will be boosted by our terrain, it can go special, it can go physical. It's a fantastic Z user along with Coco if we decide to go down that route. Now actually neither of those are Z mons on our draft, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But it's just a fantastic bulky offensive mon for us. This is a Pokemon that I've never used before, but I think it partners really well with Tapu Koko, giving us a fast pivot into Kieran Black to start slapping things around. And I can't wait to use it, to be honest. I'm super excited to give it a try. Kieran Black this season is going to be nicknamed Infinite, and I can't wait to see how Infinite does on the draft. Now with that in mind, round 3, obviously I've just picked up 2 super high tier mons. They were both in the top tier available. This was a kind of hybrid system where it wasn't exactly points, but it wasn't exactly tiers. It was closer to points, so and Tapu Koko and Kieran Black were in the highest points tier available. So I did have to start thinking, okay, eventually I'm going to have to pick up some budget picks. Although I will say the budgets in this, or the budgets in this league were very generous. So most people were able to pick up a lot of kind of high tier threats on their drafts. But nevertheless, I did want to make sure that I kind of saved some points. So I was looking at Tapu Koko, and it's kind of the main check to Tapu Koko are ground types or other electrics, I guess, to some extent. And Kieran Black comes in on those ground types and really threatens them out with his Ice Stab. But I didn't want only Kieran Black to do that. I wanted to add another kind of pivot or pseudo breaker to the team. Kieran Black will be the main breaker, but something that can hit hard offensively and pivot along with Koko to give us a bit of a momentum core. So I picked up Greninja. Now the reason I picked up Greninja is because I felt it was really under-tiered. Round 3 was quite early, I know, but this was the equivalent of about tier 3.5 in a regular league, and I'm seeing this thing being moved up to like tier 2 in some leagues, which I do think is too high. I think where Kieran Black is really fallen out of fashion in the draft league community, Greninja is probably the most fashionable Pokemon in draft right now. Everyone seems to be going wild for that, even Torrent Greninja at the minute. But nevertheless, I thought it was really undervalued in this system, and I just rated it on this draft. I think with Tapu Koko potentially lowering in grounds, U-turning out into Greninja, which then scares out the grounds and U-turns back into something else, we're just slowly getting some momentum and chipping things down with that kind of pivot core, and we can get in one of our breakers to really hit something hard when the opportunity arises. I think they partners really nicely with the other two with its hazard stack as well, and another nice speed tier. I think at the minute we have 130, 95, and 122, so gives us some priority on the draft too, and of course really nice dual stab. And Greninja this season is going to be nicknamed Jiraiya. I think Jiraiya will play a really important role for this draft, and again, it's a Pokemon I've never used before, so I'm excited to see how Greninja fares. Now, of course, the draft snaked away from me again, and we had to wait quite a while between picks, and there were some snipes in between these picks. For example, I think Gliscor went at this point, which was something that I was hoping to pick up. It went round 3, yeah, and I was hoping to pick that up round 4, so that kind of sucked. It would have given us a really great electric immunity, on the draft, because when you have Tapu Koko boosting other electric types, you do want a solid, reliable ground type, so I was hoping to pick up Gliscor, but unfortunately that was sniped before it got back to me. So I was a little bit at a loss what to pick exactly in round 4, but there was one Mega Pokemon that my front office screamed at me to pick up. They felt it was undervalued because it was a tier 2 Mega in this league, and they felt it should always be a tier 1. It's a Mega that I've never used before, but I'm excited to see what it can do, and that is Mega Pinsir. Now, Mega Pinsir is one of those Pokemon that you always hear being described as one-dimensional, right? It just runs Sword Stance, Quick Attack, Aerialate, boosted Frustration, or Return, along with that Quick Attack, of course, being boosted, and then like Earthquake or Close Combat or Exeter. That's what people tell you about Mega Pinsir, and I think for the most part it's true. But there is this argument that people make that Mega Pinsir is still fantastic because whilst it does one thing, it does that one thing better than anything else nearly. It is a phenomenal flying type physical breaker. Obviously, usually flying types rely on Fly and have to run like Z-Fly and things like that as the most powerful flying stab, or they rely on Brave Bird and take massive recoil. But in this case, Mega Pinsir gets that Aerialate boosted stab, and it just hits so damn hard. Of course, it's also a massive setup threat, and with that priority on it, it's just an absolute tank. It's going to plow through drafts, I think. It's something that forces prep. Along with Kieran Black and Mega Pinsir, we now have breakers that really force a lot of prep by our opponents. As I say, this is a Pokemon that I've never used before, but I'm intrigued to give it a go. I wasn't exactly convinced when I was picking it up. I did agree that it was under-tiered in Tier 2, but I wasn't exactly sure how it fit on this draft. That being said, I was willing to listen to my front office, who are far wiser than I am, and give it a go. So Mega Pinsir this season is going to be nicknamed Metabee, and I hope it can do a job for us. It is something that I've kind of, once or twice I've thought, am I going to trade this away during the season? I don't think I will. I think I'm going to grow to love this mon. I know so many people that have drafted it always fall in love with it, so I'm really hoping I feel the same way about Mega Pinsir by the end of the season. And now on my wheel pick, round 5, I decided to pick up an Ultra Beast, a kind of win condition for the team. We had a couple already. Things like Tapu Koko can win games, can close out games. Greninja can close out games. Mega Pinsir can definitely close out games. But I wanted something that can really get some momentum, can snowball, and just completely take my opponent's breath away a little bit. So we picked up an Ultra Beast in Nihilego. Nihilego, just like our others, kind of forces prep. You don't want this thing to start getting its beast boosts up too much, otherwise it will just completely sweep you, along with Mega Pinsir getting set up too much. So we get kind of a double setup threat, because with Tapu Koko, Kyurem Black, and Greninja, they're all kind of, well, Tapu Koko and Kyurem Black at least are more sort of instant power. Tapu Koko can boost with its Calm Minds, but they are rarer sets. And Greninja, whilst not hitting super hard, again, isn't really a setup problem too much. But Mega Pinsir and Nihilego give us 2 setup threats on the draft, and Nihilego does it while attacking with that Beast Boost ability, which is just absolutely phenomenal. It can boost on its speed, it can boost on its special attack, you can build it in different ways, and it's actually decently bulky on the special side as well, so it can switch in on hits and scare things out with its high special attack too. Its dual stab is really kind of stopped in its track by steel types, but we do have Mega Pinsir and Kyurem Black that both kind of demand steel types switch in sometimes and pressure them as well, so it's possible that we can just wear down steel types throughout the game, keep chipping away at them until eventually Nihilego can break through and start boosting up. It of course gives us more hazard stack on the team, being another T-Spiker along with Greninja and a Rocker. Currently our only other Rocker is Mega Pinsir, which will probably never ever unrock, so it is nice to have another Rocker on the team in Nihilego. Nihilego this season is going to be nicknamed Lebowski, and yeah, I'm really excited to see how Lebowski does. I think it can do a job, I think it's another win con for us, and we've got a really nice offensive core now. I mean, if you listen to that offense, Tapu Koko, Kyurem Black, Greninja, Mega Pinsir, Nihilego, my goodness, that's one hell of a scary offense in our first 5 mons, and we can really, I know that we're going to be pressuring a lot of teams, forcing a lot of prep and scaring a lot of people with those first 5. With that in mind, as the draft sort of snaked away from us and came back, I had to start thinking about the defensive spine to this team, because offense is great, but I do definitely want to add some switch-ins to cover some of our weaknesses on this draft. For example, we have a bit of a fighting weakness with Kyurem Black and Greninja, and Mega Pinsir, Nihilego, and Tapu Koko don't particularly want to be switching in on fighting types, Nihilego being neutral and physically pretty paper-thin in its defenses, Mega Pinsir taking big rocks damage and usually wanting to be able to preserve its HP to set up, and Tapu Koko not being the most bulky of fairies. I knew that we either needed a Ghost or a very bulky Psychic on the team. So with that in mind, round 6, I picked up Uxie. Now, Uxie is, I think, kind of like an unsung hero on most drafts. It comes in, it soaks up hits, it slow pivots out with U-turn, it sets up rocks, it mementos to get setup threats in. It can do a lot of things without ever really stealing the show. But I cannot wait to use Uxie. For those of you that have followed the channel for a while, you may know this. I think I've mentioned it once or twice before. Uxie was actually my first ever channel mascot. Before I ever uploaded anything to this channel, it was originally named something along the lines of Uxie, or something with Uxie in the name. Before I was ever Dr. Slacking, but I never uploaded. I did record some episodes that never went out. But yeah, so for me, this is kind of like a hidden mascot pick. I've always wanted to use Uxie. It's one of the reasons that I chose my former Draft League team name to be the Lake District Spirits, because I wanted to do something with Uxie in the team name. So this is not only a former channel mascot for me, but also a former Draft League mascot for me. So I'm really, really excited to have Uxie on the team. Uxie will be nicknamed Hibiki, after the Japanese whiskey. I always name my Lake District trio after different spirits, after different alcohol spirits. If you're wondering why I'm saying the Lake District trio, if you're wondering where that district is coming from, I used to live in a place in England called the Lake District, so that was why my team name was that formerly. And to partner Uxie on this wheel pick, I decided to pick up another monster, another high tier threat. I'm really blowing through my points at this point, but it's okay. Like we've got a fairly large budget, and I think we were one of the first people in the league to really realize this and just go all out very, very early. So in round 7, we picked up, and I can't believe it was still available in round 7, but we picked up a round 7 Heatran. Heatran gives us a fantastic steal on the team to round out our Fairy Dragon Steel core alongside Tapu Koko and Kyurem Black. I mean, if you told most people at the start of a draft league, your Fairy Dragon Steel core will be Tapu Koko, Kyurem Black, and Heatran, I think they'd probably pee themselves a little bit. That is a phenomenal Fairy Dragon Steel core. It hits so damn hard. It's just incredible. Heatran gives us another rocker. Its dual stab are very good. Along with Nihilego, we're building up a bit of a ground weakness, which is not great, where our only flying type is Mega Pinsir. And Tapu Koko, of course, also being weak to ground, but that is mitigated somewhat by Uxie, I suppose, having the levitate ability. But yeah, we definitely want to patch up that ground weakness as we continue this draft. Heatran, though, will be nicknamed Oggy this season, and it is the first of our Z users. A bit of a weird Z pick, I realize, when we have Tapu Koko and Kyurem Black, but my problem with Tapu Koko and Kyurem Black as Z users was if I picked them, I could only have one, and no other Z user on the draft. Whereas with Heatran, I was able to pick up a second Z user to go with it, which is actually my next pick, which I'll get onto in a second. But I thought that was worth it. I'm someone who always prefers to have two Z users than just one. So yeah, Heatran is the first of those on this team, and I'm excited to see how Oki does this season. Now round 8, you might be noticing something. We don't have any removal at all, really, apart from Tapu Koko, which is not the best removal, but we have a Mega Pinsir and a Kieran Black with no reliable removal unless we're forcing Tapu Koko to do it. So definitely I'm starting to think, okay, I need some Defog, I need some Rapid Spin, and I was hoping to pick up Serena round 8. But unfortunately that got sniped. I did look at Decidueye as kind of the most logical replacement. It does a lot of the things that Serena does, but it was more expensive and I just couldn't free up the points. I didn't feel it was worth it. So rather than picking up Decidueye, I actually dropped down a tier lower than Serena and picked up Rotom Mow. I think Rotom Mow was super undervalued in this draft. I think the Rotom forms are all actually pretty reliable, pretty good defoggers. It gave me another ground immunity, and with its grass typing, even if we come up against a Mold Breaker mon, it is at least neutral to ground. So it does help to mitigate that ground problem that we have in the Nihilego, Heatran, and Tapu Koko. With Uxie and Rotom Mow on the draft now, it's really starting to patch that up with that double Levitate core. Rotom Mow also pairs really nicely with Tapu Koko more than people realize. People kind of think, well, it's double electric type, but they don't share any weaknesses. It's also not getting its electric stab boosted by terrain, which seems bad on the surface, and I understand that. I understand why people kind of see it that way, but giving us a ground immunity to support Tapu Koko is fantastic, and actually giving us a 4 times electric resist, not just a 2 times with a normal grass, but a 4 times electric resist is really important. As I've said, we want a good ground type, and we want other good electric resists if we can get them. So having Rotom Mow on the draft, meaning that other people's Volt Switches that might be boosted by my terrain won't be hitting us too hard with Rotom Mow around. So I think that's really key, and something that people kind of overlook when they think about Rotom Mow fitting with Tapu Koko. Rotom will be nicknamed Bosch this season, and again, this is my first time drafting Rotom Mow. A lot of first time drafts on this one for me, but I'm excited to see how Bosch gets on. I've used Rotom Bosch before, didn't really love it, but I think Rotom Mow can be better, especially for this draft in particular. Making it Z, I think would be really interesting. Z Shadow Ball, Z Leaf Storm, Z Thunderbolt. We can definitely do something with Rotom Mow as a Z user on this draft, and I'm excited to see how it does. Now, following that theme of removal, on this wheel pick, after Rotom Mow, round 9, I do pick up Gligar. I did want Gligar's big brother in Gliscor, but as I said, that got sniped, so I kind of had to think for a while about what I was going to do, and I don't think that Gligar really is as much of a ready-made replacement as Gliscor as I used to. Gliscor does a lot of things that Gligar doesn't, but Gligar also does some things that Gliscor doesn't. It is naturally bulkier with that Eviolite on it. It does actually, without the passive recovery, it kind of sucks, but it is outright slightly bulkier than Gliscor, which is pretty cool. It will soak up some hits, and it does still give us a fantastic ground type, a fantastic ground immunity, a great U-turn, a slow pivot, a good defogger, another great rocker on the team. So I was more than happy to pick up Gligar. Gligar is another mon that I've used, but not since my very first season in Draft League, along with Tapu Koko. I had those two together before, so I'm excited to have them together again. And Gligar this season will be nicknamed Batfink. Now, if we've just been kind of plugging some holes with that defog and that rocker and, you know, kind of going for some budget picks to offset our high tier spending at the start of the draft, round 10 bucked the trend once again as we splashed out on another offensive monster. Round 10 and the penultimate pick in our draft, we picked up Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr is definitely one of the best fighting types in the format, and possibly the best bulky fighting type in the format. It is a phenomenal rock resist to partner with Kieran Black and Mega Pinsir. This thing can come in on a Stone Edge, eat it up, and then fire off a massive drain punch into whatever's coming in to recover it all back. Conkeldurr is a fantastic Pokemon, something that Checkmate Ben has been telling me to draft for a long time, and this is the first time that I've actually managed to pick it up. So I'm really hyped to have Conkeldurr on this draft. I think it is such a perfect fit with Mega Pinsir and Kieran Black. I think it is so scary to pick that thing up round 10, penultimate pick, and we're picking up power like that. With Sheer Force, with Iron Fist, with Guts, this thing gets so many great abilities. It can be bulky with an AEV set. It can do so much. It's another priority user, so we now have, you know, Quick Attack on Mega Pinsir, Water Shuriken on Greninja, and Mach Punch on Conkeldurr. We've got 3 great priority users on the team too, so I'm super excited to have Conkeldurr on the team. And Conkeldurr will be nicknamed Colin this season. Like I say, Colin was our second from last pick, but the last round we didn't have too many points left, and I wanted to pick up my favorite Pokemon. If you guys have followed the channel for a while, you might know that Slacking isn't actually my favorite Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon is joint between Swampert and Mudkip, and I did want to pick up Swampert at the end, but there was another mon that kind of did Swampert's job but better on this draft, and that was Gastrodon. The reason that I liked Gastrodon and Swampert on this draft is because it kind of took hidden power pressure away from Gligar, right? We've got two great electric immunities or resistances in Gligar and Rotom Mow, but they're both weak to hidden power ice coverage, which isn't great. So I wanted to pick something up that was at least neutral to hidden power ice coverage. I wanted to pick something up that would take hidden power ice pressure away from Gligar, that would take hidden power ground pressure away from Nihilego and Heatran. I wanted to pick something up that would force prep from my opponents, and Gastrodon and Swampert both did that. But Gastrodon did it a little bit better with that reliable recovery. With being so bulky, it's hard to chip down. If you don't bring specific coverage for Gastrodon, it's actually a really, really difficult mon to break. So now when my opponents prep for me, they have to kind of think, what hidden powers am I going to run on my electric types? What hidden powers am I going to run on all my mons? What coverage am I going to run on things that get coverage? And how can I break Gastrodon and Gligar on the same team? With that water immunity as well, meaning that they can't just run Surf, which they could do with a Swampert, and it would be at least neutral. Gastrodon gives me just a lot more to this team than I think the other water ground types did. Arguably, I could have picked up Quagsire and done pretty similar stuff, but I preferred Gastrodon's outright bulk to the kind of unaware advantage of Quagsire. So that's why I decided to pick up Gastrodon. It will be the pink Gastrodon all season because Brendan, the IBL commissioner, insists that that's the case, and I don't mind either way. So we're going to run pink Gastrodon all season, and it will be nicknamed Slug. So that is your Bowland Bovines draft for the IBL D-League. I think this is possibly the most, well, it's definitely the most offensive draft I've ever had. Possibly the best draft I've ever had. I really don't know how I'm going to play with this much offense, but I'm excited to see how it fares. Just to give you a quick recap, make sure you kind of got everything in perspective. This time, rather than telling you in the order they're picked, I'm going to kind of go in the points order of their cost. So we have Tapu Koko, Kieran Black, Mega Pinsir, Nihilego, Heatran, Conkeldurr, Greninja, Uxie, Rotom Mow, and Gastrodon. And Gligar, of course. I think that is a fantastic draft. With that defensive spine of like Uxie, Gligar, Gastrodon, arguably Heatran, arguably Rotom Mow, arguably Conkeldurr, even Nihilego on the special side a little bit, that is a fantastic defensive core that is really hard to break through. And then with that offense of Tapu Koko, Kieran Black, Greninja, Mega Pinsir, Nihilego, Heatran, Conkeldurr, oh my lord, where are your switch-ins, guys? It is going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to get started with this. I'm sure we will pick up at least one win this season, right? We have to with a draft like that. So, as I say, make sure you stick around. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to bring Wi-Fi content to the channel. I'm so excited for that. Do make sure you check out all the other D-League coaches. They're all fantastic people. And as I say, thank you to them for making me feel so welcome. And thank you to everyone else for your support. And thank you to you guys if you've made it this far in this video. Please do like, please do comment, please do subscribe. It will mean a lot to me if we can get some support on this league. This is really a big break for me, and I'm super excited for it. So, thank you so much for loafing around with me, guys. And I'll catch you again next time.